Just when you think that Ubisoft hiring a Quack Yasuke historian is already worse enough, turn out that the Japanese consultation they actually hired to defend their game Assassin's Creed Shadow in the New York Times article was none other than a Sweet Baby Inc. employee. And it really does to show that Sweet Baby Inc. really is Dion from JoJo series, where they actually just go, "Kono Sweet Baby Inc. 的 hello," 的好像你 Ame Gakita does. Alright, so basically for today's random chat, as you guys can see, it's definitely involving Sweet Baby Inc. and obviously not in a good way. Considering that when we actually look at a lot of things, previously I did cover the situation about how they actually hired a Yasuke historian by the name called Thomas Loki, and I actually thought in my random chat, in random chat 303, it's actually kind of ironic that there was no evidence to prove that Yasuke didn't exist, but there's also no evidence to prove that Yasuke existed. So that means to say that in Japan law, as well as in terms of like the historical artifact article, everything that was put up, it was turned out that there was no actual evidence that Yasuke is not just only a samurai, but whether is he actually a fabricated character in the first place. So at the end of the day, it can actually be taken that Yasuke never exists, and I actually say that in my video that for that. But actually more so in recent time, I've been actually going with that narrative, though I also be happy that if there is actually evidence to show that he actually existed. But considering that the information that was put up by the Japanese government that he didn't, there is no evidence to prove that he existed, then it can be taken that it may be just a fabrication in the first damn place. But the only problem with that narrative is that obviously the so-called Japanese consultation go with the idea saying that the reason why people are mad about a black samurai was that it was the Western people who is having issue with a black samurai that is going to be the main alternatives in a so-called Japanese setting game. And I actually been saying that it's not about a black man or white man or whatever man that is. The only problem is that not only does there is no historical accuracy to the game itself, but actually more so on the part that Ubisoft trying to claim that it was a historical accuracy when in the first place there was no source. And then you'll be all listening from Gordon Racing shouting, "Where's the lamb sauce?" In the toilet, I guess. So at the end of the day, right, it's really kind of like ironic that considering that while they end up hiring a so-called Quack historian, it turned out that they also hired another Quack consultation. So it's actually turned out to be that the so-called Japanese consultation, which we'll talk about it more from now on, is that they say that the consultant was actually more towards using a Japanese name, no Japanese culture, no a lot of Japanese stuff, and yet when it was found out that the person, he was a Sweet Baby Inc. employee, it kind of like invalidate a lot of things about how Ubisoft actually hired a authentic Japanese consultant. Because when you look at the whole scenario, well, actually I will refer you guys to listen to Hillsun and Rev video to understand more, because Sweet Baby Inc. got caught and it's really kind of like they go full Dion mode saying like what the shit along the line. It's really kind of weird that in my view, why would they do that? Well, there's also kind of like, from what I know, is that there is really a lot of Japanese video up there already. A lot of Japanese say like there is a lot of things that is wrong with the game. I consult with real Japanese people who is aware of this kind of thing, and they all tell me that there is a lot of things that is wrong with the game. There's no historical accuracy in the game, which with Ubisoft have been claiming. There is no so-called realistic to the game, which a lot of people have been talking about, and more so that is also a lot of representative of Japan in the game as well. Because if we go with the idea that hey, we can have a sakura tree which is only happen on spring, with the rice field that is only happen near the end of summer, yep, that's tell you a lot of things, right? Because at the end of the day, how the hell you gonna bring spring and summer into the same day? I guess global warming. But at the end of the day, it's really just weird that how the so-called consultant they actually hired was turned out to be none other than just a Quack. More on the part that, sorry, the person as Mesh JT actually did do report on his own video, and I would suggest you guys to go and check JT-san video for that. Is that the person who claimed that they are using a Japanese name, they are actually a Japanese person, and that the person had understand a lot of Japanese culture. Turned out that the person wasn't born in Japan. Turned out that the person's homeland was Alaska, interestingly, as well as that the person don't even seem to understand Japanese. Apparently, I guess that even if the person say that, oh, he know some Japanese word. わかりました。私、日本語ができれば、多分私も日本人ですよね。So it's actually kind of weird that if I can speak Japanese, if I live in Japan for 6 years, does that make me a Japanese? Like, I live in Japan for 6 years, I spoke to a lot of Japanese online, in real life, as well as my neighbors. I always got told by a lot of them that maybe I'm a Japanese. Because my skin color also kind of like implement that yes, I'm an Asian people, but it's just that my skin color when I was living in Japan kind of get me into all pale white. Not the white people that you guys think, the redneck people, but basically the Asian white. But only thing is, right, at the end of the day, just because I got a skin color that is like a Japanese, I am able to speak some Japanese, I live in Japan, does that make me a Japanese? No, I don't even have a Japan passport in the first damn place. Maybe some identity from Japan, which I hold quite a few, because yes, there is actually ID, the so-called foreign identity card that we have to hold when we move to Japan along the line. But that doesn't prove anything at the end of the day. It's just that I live in Japan, that's all. So if a person wants to prove they are a Japanese, number one, they were born in Japan. Number two, they have a Japanese parents as be it dad or mom along the line, even if they are half, is still considered in a way. As well as that, the last thing is that they know a lot of Japanese culture and language itself. So it's actually, you just need all these three and you can actually be called a Japanese. But even if another person call you, hey, you seem like a Japanese along the line, it's just a compliment. In some people, it may sound like a sarcasm along the line, but hey, that's another topic for another video. But at the end of the day, right, it's actually kind of like just to show that if a person claims you to be using a Japanese name and that they know Japanese stuff, does that make the person a Japanese? Not really, because from what I look at the whole scenario, it doesn't seem right for me just because that, oh, I'm using a Japanese name mean I'm Japanese? Hell, there's a lot of people on HoloLive, HoloStar, or even like in real life they are using Japanese name. Does that mean them a Japanese? Not really. So they were not in this year. It's kind of weird that why would Sweet Baby Inc. try to go with the tactic that, hey, let's get someone name themselves Japanese, and then and the funny thing is when I say they use a Japanese name, it's a turn out that Kazuma Hashimoto, the name itself actually is also in line with another old anime character name. Kind of like something that we just say that, hey, maybe if I call myself Naruto long enough, and maybe people can just call me Naruto. Hell, even my sister used a freaking Disney character name because he loved that Disney character for who know how long since she was young, and now she using it as her name. But does that mean that she is from Disney or she is working for Disney? No! So the thing is, right, it's kind of weird that people always go with the idea that, hey, just because we can do this and do that, then maybe people will believe. And it's actually even more worse that Ubisoft actually so-called hired this consultant for this whole audio saying that, hey, we need someone who is a Japanese consultant who can go and attack the gamers from the western side, saying that this game is actually very well liked in Japan, which we'll talk about in a while, and that it is just only the propaganda by the West, the gamer. Actually, it's more by the propaganda by the Western game company at this point of time. Ubisoft, how worse can you go? Because it's actually kind of even worse that if they actually did hire an offended Japanese consultant, then I guess it actually will shout out a lot of criticism. But when they hire a consultant who is an employee of a Sweet Baby Inc., yeah. So in the end, it's just the Sweet Baby Inc. having their dirty hand on the game. Who have thought Pardon me, Bright. But at the end of the day, it's really weird. Why would people go with the idea that, hey, let's go with this, let's go with that, and then, okay, let's have a Quack consultant, have a Quack historian, and a Quack film consultant about everything that is about LGBTQ, DEI, and everything inclusive, but making sure that no man is allowed. I really finding interesting that the inclusive part in DEI became exclusive. I think they should be changing DEI to DEE at this point of time, because it's just excluding a lot of things and it's just weird. I mean, like, it's really funny that why would they go with the idea that, hey, the consultant will just say that Japanese gamers are actually liking this game and it's just the Western gamer don't like this game. But let me tell you guys one thing. I may not be a Japanese, and I will have to say that because I know some people thought that I can speak Japanese does mean that I'm Japanese, and I've been highlighting that a lot of time. はい、日本語ができればでも本当の日本人じゃないんですよ。そうですよ。I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's really weird why would people go with that idea that, hey, maybe the Japanese people love the game. When I freaking did a video, yes, Ubisoft Assassin's Creed Shadow became the most hated game ever. Because it's not just only the Western gamer that is hating on the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed Shadow at the moment, but actually from what it seems, there is actually a lot of Japanese people who is now aware of the incident that is caused by Ubisoft. And it turned out that the reason why they have a black main character wasn't because of they don't want to, they kind of like want to give, so in their words, a new direction into a game character, but turned out that it was just they're forcing their propaganda and doing misrepresentative to a Japan culture. So obviously Japanese people who are not aware of this whole story, they're already starting to start pushing back, asking for authentic gameplay, authentic historical fair, everything. And obviously it got to the point of getting Ubisoft game trailer at the time to have 97% dislike. No, it's not like, but fully dislike. And it's even funnier when they actually got the consultant trying to defend Ubisoft in the New York Times article, which kind of like threw New York Times article down the drain at this point of time. That they say that it was the Western people who is using translation to a Japanese text command and then posting it on YouTube or on Twitter along the line. But from what I do know, it doesn't seem that way, because if there's a lot of YouTube comment, a lot of YouTube Japanese video that is done by actual Japanese people to put up their own commentary, then I think it's fair to say that maybe they are really not happy about this Ubisoft latest game. And it's actually more even funnier that earlier when I mentioned that I actually asked a few people that I know who are actually living in Japan, actual Japanese, with a Japanese name, with a Japanese significant half. And the funny thing is, right, there is actually kind of like a little bit split, but it's actually more towards like 7:3 ratio, 7 being the most of the people who doesn't want to buy the game. But there are actually quite a few people that I do know that is trying to say that maybe they can give the game a try, but more so like just to see how the game seems to be or how the game is like. It's like they are technically curious and they are actually gamers. So in a way, I don't really like, I'm not the type of person to tell them to, hey, don't buy this game along the line. If they want to try the game and give it a chance, then I think it's fair for us to give them the benefit of doubt. Maybe they just want to see how the game works and maybe they can roast the game, or they want to compliment the game. That will be a whole new different story. But at the end of the day, if there is a lot of Japanese people who don't wish to buy the game or play the game, then I think it's also fair for Ubisoft to say that, hey, maybe it's also time to do the change in the game. Like, maybe they have to change the game at this point of time. There's still like less than 2 months for before the game get released. I know some people say that more than 2 months, but let's use less than 2 months as the timeline, because you can't have everything done within a month. So yet it's kind of like towards the point that if they're gonna release the game in November, at the time of this recording, it just proved to show that they are going to be in deep trouble if the game do come out. They really kind of like they really got the Star Wars Outlaw being flopped to the ground, and now this game is gonna be released. Hell, I even got some comment telling me that when I give the date that maybe they're gonna get bankrupt, I only say that is what it seems to be. But I give another day that which I think is most likely is that they will start laying off a lot of stuff. And if in the case that Ubisoft do start laying off a lot of people, then that is when we will get to see that maybe Ubisoft is going to be gone down the drain. And maybe when the so-called investor trying to do a hostile takeover as per what allegedly was saying, then maybe it won't be long before the whole company is going to be really going down the freaking drain. More so, it will be down 6 feet under and into the abyss. So from my perspective, from how I look at a lot of situations, it actually be best that Ubisoft do come clean on a lot of situations that they have not just mess up, instead of like defending themselves, saying that it's just a Western propaganda or whatsoever. Hell, they are even Western themselves. It's actually more so that they actually have to admit they mess up. They hire a Quack historian, they hire a Quack consultant, and they realize their mistake and they decide to push back the game and do a whole revamp along the line. I think that will at least be the best. Like, that is the best way and the best outcome. It's just that they've been pushing it again and again and again. Let's say they are correct, when hell the Star Wars Outlaws really a huge flop, and they can't have this game flop at this point of time. If they release this game, and a lot of gamers like JT-san or even Rev-san pointing out, it's really kind of like, dude, look at Concourse from Sony. At least Sony have the audacity to at least backtrack, even if they make 1 million. Hell, they at least, which I will do another random check on that video. Wait for that for the next day. But actually more so that at least the loss they know they have messed up on, at least Sony is there to backtrack on it and say that, hey, we messed up. At least they admitted it. But if Ubisoft decide to go full on and do this whole game release, realizing that, hey, the consultant was just apparently someone from Ubisoft, or Sweet Baby Inc., or maybe like the so-called historical was actually all a Quack, because the person who couldn't come up with an actual historical fact that Yasuke did assist, and there is no evidence to prove that he didn't assist, but he also didn't prove that he assisted, then hey, I guess this game is gonna be just a whole new fabrication propaganda that is given out by the so-called people that just want games to be inclusive, when in the first place it was never been so. But hey, this is just all my speculation, because the only thing that is gonna come out to Sweet Baby Inc. is that apparently a little bit of, before we end the whole damn thing, the so-called Kazuma Hashimoto actually was told apparently that because he worked for the Sweet Baby Inc., that a lot of developer or game company wish not to hire him. So I guess there are some company that is learning at this point of time. But this is just my speculative thought, just a random chat. If you have your own point, your own view, your own opinion, your own take, your own whatsoever, write in the comment below whether you agree or disagree, or do you feel like Sweet Baby is going down the drain, or down the ground, or down the abyss, or maybe it may actually have a slight twist and fly up into the heaven? Who knows? That's the reason why the comment section exists. But if you do like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more random chat where I talk about stuff that sometimes makes sense, doesn't make sense, or sometimes it's totally random. But the one thing that is totally not random is I hope you guys have a nice day online. Bye!